All right, thanks, guys. We're coming off another perfect day on Patreon. We went a perfect 5-0 in our 5 Patreon plays yesterday. We also went 17-11 on our leans right here on YouTube. That's going to put us at 14-1 in our last 15 Patreon plays on that website. Now, the link for that site is in the description section below. We're also 13-3 in our last 16 underdog plays. So let's go ahead and carry that back into today. Sorry, guys, I was a little bit busy, but we're going to go ahead and cap the later games for Saturday. Happy Saturday. The weekend is here. So hopefully you guys are having a great day. Let's go ahead and dive into it. We got the Mets taking on the Marlins, 6:10 Eastern first pitch in Miami. The Mets are minus 135, totals at 8. We did see a 20-cent fade of the Mets and movement downward on the total. The Mets open $1.55 down to minus 135. Total open 8.5 down to 8 flat. 60% are leaning toward the Mets, 59% shaded toward the over. Right now the Marlins are plus 125 on the money line. We have Noah Syndergaard for the Mets, Galen for the Marlins. Galen's coming into this game with a 4.50 ERA and a 1.42 WHIP. Meanwhile, Syndergaard on the other side, 6-4 record on the year. He has 101 strikeouts thus far. Now the Marlins are last in the NL East. They are 34-55 overall for the year. They're 19.5 games behind the Braves for first place in that division there. The Marlins are last in scoring, 16-29 at home, and they've won just 7 out of 21 ball games played at the current market price. Now New York on the other side, 10-7 straight up when Syndergaard makes the start. I know that rumor has it he is on the trading block. They are 9th in striking batters out. They're also 16-13, taking on teams under 460. So when they play against the lower competition, they are taking care of business in that category there. Now, total-wise, the Mets are 80% to the over in their last 5 ball games. The Marlins on the other side, 6-3 to the over, taking on the Mets this year. Give me the Mets minus 135 and the over 8 runs in that matchup there. All right, next game, Rays, Orioles, 7:05 Camden Yards in Baltimore. The Rays are minus 210, totals at 9. We saw a 15-cent move toward Tampa Bay and movement downward on the total. The Rays open 195 up to minus 210. Total open 9.5 down to 9 flat. 68% are leaning Rays, 59% shaded toward the under. Right now the Orioles are plus 190 on the money line. The Rays are minus $1.30 on the run line. We have Charlie Morton for the Rays, John Means for the O's. Charlie Morton for the Rays comes into this game with a 10-2 record, 2.32 ERA, and a 1.03 WHIP. He also has 142 strikeouts thus far on the year. Baltimore's last in the AL East. They're 31.5 games back in the division. They are dead last in runs allowed, and they've won just 11 out of 43 games at Camden Yards. The Rays on the other side are first in runs allowed, second in road hits allowed. They are 26-18 against the spread away from home. And of course, when I refer to the spread in baseball, I'm referring to the run line. Now, total-wise, the Rays are 6-3 to the over, taking on Baltimore this year. Meanwhile, the Orioles are 28-15 to the over at Camden Yards. Give me the Rays minus 1.5 and the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Twins, Indians, 7:10 Cleveland. The Indians are minus 145, totals at 9. We saw a 10-cent move toward Cleveland and movement upward on the total. The Indians open $1.35 up to minus 145. Total open 8.5 up to 9. 51% are leaning Minnesota, 52% shaded toward the over. Right now the Twins are plus 135 on the money line. Cleveland's plus $1.35 on the run line. We have Jake Odorizzi for the Twins, Trevor Bauer for the Indians. Odorizzi for the Twins comes into this game with a 10-4 record, 3.15 ERA, and a 1.12 WHIP. Cleveland on the other side, just 19-25 against the spread at home. They're 6.5 games behind Minnesota for first place in the division. Cleveland also ranks 26th in hits on average per game. They're also 23rd in home scoring. They've won just 3 out of 7 games taking on Minnesota this year. Now, the Twins on their side of things, they are 12-5 straight up when Jake Odorizzi makes the start. They're also winning 69% of their games in the second game without a day off. They are first in scoring, first in road hits. And when it comes to the total, Minnesota is 10-3 to the over in their second game without a day off. Love that stat. So give me Minnesota plus 1.5 and the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Giants, Brewers, and that is going to be a 7:15 Eastern first pitch. We have the Brewers as the $1.25 favorite, total at 9. We did see a nickel fade of Milwaukee and movement upward on the total. The Brewers open $1.30 down to minus 125. Total open 8.5 up to 9 flat. 59% are leaning Brewers, 56% shaded toward the under. Right now the Giants are plus 115 on the money line. The Brewers plus $1.60 on the run line. We have Madison Bumgarner for the Giants, Zach Davies for the Brewers. Davies comes into this game with a 7-2 record and a 3.07 ERA. Meanwhile, Mad Bum for the Giants, just 5-7 on the year, 4.03 ERA. Milwaukee's 27-19 at home. They're 5th in offensive walks at home. They're 2nd place in the NL Central, and they're just 1.5 games back for the division lead. Now the Giants on the other side rank dead last in Major League Baseball in hits. They're also 27th in scoring on average per game. When it comes to the total, San Fran is 13-6 to the over when Mad Bum makes the start. They're also 69% to the over, taking on teams between 460 and 540. Now the Brewers on the other side, 8-4 to the over in their 2nd game without a day off. They're also a perfect 4-0 to the over, taking on the Giants this year, depending on where you're shopping at. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Brewers minus 125 and the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Diamondbacks, Cardinals. 7:15 Eastern first pitch at New Busch Stadium. The Cardinals are minus 135, totals at 9. We saw a 10-cent move toward the Cards and movement downward on the total. St. Louis open $1.25 up to minus 135. Total open 9.5 down to 9 flat. 52% are leaning St. Louis, 56% shaded toward the under. Right now the D-backs are plus 125 on the money line. St. Louis plus $1.55 on the run line. We have Merrill Kelly for the D-backs, Dakota Hudson for the Cardinals. Hudson has walked 41 batters in 92 1/3 innings pitched this year. He also comes into this game with a 1.53 whip. The Cards are just 4-9 in their last 13. They also dropped 4 out of their last 5 at home. They're in 3rd place in the NL Central. A couple more things to add about St. Louis. They are 22nd in home scoring, 23rd in home hits, and they're winning just 46% of their games, taking on teams between 460 and 540. Now, the Diamondbacks on the other side are 8-4 straight up in their 2nd game without a day off. They're also 14-10 at the current market price. They're 5th in road scoring, 3rd in road hits, and when it comes to the scoring in this one, Arizona is 11-7 to the under when Kelly makes the start. St. Louis on the other side, 62% to the under when the line was 9 or higher. Give me the Diamondbacks plus 1.5 in the under 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Dodgers, Red Sox, 7:15 Fenway in Boston, Mass. Boston's minus 170, totals at 9. We did see a nickel move toward the Red Sox and movement downward on the total. Boston opened $1.65 up to minus 170. Total open 9.5 down to 9 flat. 56% are leaning Red Sox, 57% shaded toward the over. Right now the Dodgers are plus 155 on the money line. The Red Sox are plus 120 on the run line. We have Ross Stripling for the Dodgers, Chris Sale for the Red Sox. Sale's just 3-8 on the year with a 4.04 ERA. Stripling on the other side, 3-3 on the year, but comes into this game with a 3.79 ERA. The Dodgers are 1st in the NL West. They are 60-33 overall for the year, puts them at 27 games over 500. They're also 2nd in runs allowed, 1st in hits allowed. A couple more things about the Dodgers here. They're 1st in walks allowed, and they're winning 65% of their games, taking on teams over 540. Now, Boston on the other side, completely different story. They won just 6 out of 18 games where Sale made the start. They've also won just 10 out of 25 games, taking on teams allowing less than 3.9 runs per contest. Boston is 22nd in runs allowed at home. They're also 2nd to last in Major League Baseball in walks allowed at home. Now, when it comes to the total, Boston is 36-25-3 to the over when the line was 9 or higher. The Dodgers on the other side, 73% to the the over in their second game without a day off. That's my favorite trend there. Give me the Dodgers plus 1.5 and the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Tigers, Royals.